I'm cold and dark. I am the hungry shark, fast and merciless. But the only girl that could talk to him just...
Hey guys, SBS Dominant here. This is my 150-gallon reef tank. This is a mixed reef. It does have, oops, cover the camera. It does have one piece of SBS in there, and you can see I'm an expert at laying super glue. If Samson will just get out of the way, there you go. I'm expert with super glue. Actually, I'm the worst ever. It needs to be like a college class on applying super glue to corals and mounting them. But anyways, I'm here to talk about, if you're thinking about diving in to the reef hobby, in which it does take a dive, what you need to know about in getting a reef tank and setting one up. It can be an expensive hobby, or you can actually make it a lot cheaper than it is. I have lots and lots of stuff that I just don't use anymore. Well, first off, you need a plan, and you need to study, and you need to watch YouTube, and you need to watch Bulk Reef Supply. I would definitely recommend them. Mile High Reefer, definitely would recommend him. Fish a Hex. But there's one thing, we all do things differently. We're not all the same, and that's how you get so many different conclusions on how is the correct way to keep a reef tank. Well, first off, you need a plan. You're going to need to know where you're going to keep your reef tank. Well, this is a 150, and it's set on concrete. It's 4 foot long, 30 inches high, and 24 inches deep front to back. That's a lot of weight per square inch. You would definitely not want to put this on an upper floor with just regular joist. Right now I'm building a house, and I'm planning on putting at least a 300-gallon tank in our bedroom. So planning is key. You got to know what you want, what size tank you want, what if you want to mix. If you want to mix your corals, you want to have SBS, softies, LPS, zoanthids, whole 9 yards. You got to know whether if you're going to want sand or not. I recommend having sand. It's just more pleasing to me, and I like all the inverts and the different fish that like sand. So the wrasses over there, they bury themselves in the sand, and they need a good sand substrate to do so. Well, then you got to pick a tank. And when you buy your tank, you got to think about your location, as I said before. It needs to be where you can plumb things to the outside, and that is my personal opinion. I run a bubbler to the outside. I got my skimmer plumbed to the outside for fresh air to keep pH up. What type of scape and rock do you want? It goes into if you want sand or not as well. This is all Reef Saver rock here. There's a few little pieces of Tonga that, no, it's not Tonga, it's old SBS skeletons holding zoanthids on there. But anyways, your water, you need to know what type of water that you have, whether if you have chloramines in your water. So when you go to buy your RODI unit, and that is a must for a reef tank, you need to know what size RODI system that you need, whether if it's a 3-stage, 4-stage, 5-stage, and bigger. I would recommend always running a sump, and they can be quite expensive, or you can just get a 40-gallon breeder. This is a Trigger Emerald tank. It has 3 filter socks over here, and there's my skimmer. You're going to need a skimmer and other filtrations, and this is the complicated part of your plan. Are you going to carbon dose? Are you going to go natural? Are you going to have a refugium? Are you going to have an algae scrubber? You need to know these questions. There's my algae there. I have a good pump, DC pump there by Ecotech. I have the bio cubes in here, blocks for extra filtration. When I bought the Reef Saver rock, I didn't plan enough. I didn't do enough investigating. It was a good looking rock. I wanted something dead, and that's what I got, but it's not that very porous, so I had to get the extra porous block to help with beneficial bacteria. You're going to need to know about your flow. If you're going to have SPS, you need more flow. If you're LPS, euphyllias, leathers don't require as much flow. I have 3 pumps in here. Wave Makers by Tunzi. They create a good amount of flow in here. I also have another Tunzi. It's just a constant go on the back wall to keep detritus up. Again, about carbon dosing and whether if you're going to be natural, you need to choose in the beginning. Yes, you can change later, but these affect your corals and your biological system. You need to have an ATO, auto top-off unit. Keeps your salinity constant. I have the Tunzi 5017. You're going to have lights. I started off with LEDs and went to T5s. Supplement lighting just helps out a lot better. I only run the T5s for about 5 hours. Now cycling your tank. If you're going to carbon dose, you're going to have to add bacteria to the tank on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. I just use Microbacter 7. It'd be good to put it on a doser, add 1 meal a day would be plenty. For this tank, it's 150 gallons. It has a bunch of different things in there growing, and soon to be a lot more SPS after this little test with this frag goes. Adding your fish. I would recommend getting all your fish and putting them in quarantine, of course, and then adding them all at once. I didn't do that in this tank. I did, but I added Samson there later, and then some sand sifting diamond gobies later, and I would let that roll for a couple months. After your tank is cycled, you add your fish and let that roll for a couple months. Feed that tank, feed it just like you would every day, and let the nutrients stabilize, because that's just as important as keeping your pH, your alkalinity, and your calcium stable. Too many times we see white rocks with corals all over them, and then you add your fish, and then boom, dinos and cyano, hair algae outbreaks, diatoms, you name it, break out, and you're constantly fighting with that, and you're having to do blackouts and carbon dose real heavy, or trying to bring your nutrients back up. You just have too many swings in there after you've had your fish. I would recommend going 2-3 months even without adding your corals. You'll be happier in the long run. And then dosing. Once your corals have matured in the tank, they're pulling in alkalinity. My alkalinity will drop at least 1 DKH a day if I were not dosing this tank. I run this tank at 8.3. So tomorrow, if I did not dose, it'd be at 7.3, and then 6.3, and then 5.3, and then crash. So it's very important to have a good doser. This is a bubble magus. The J-bows, they're pretty good. They're not quite as accurate, but you can get around that by just testing it and paying close attention to your levels, and then once you get the hang of it, you're there. I think that's the end of my video. I did forget one thing. Excuse me. Salt. That should be like your second step of your water. You need to choose a good salt. And if you're going to run, say 8, you want to buy a good premium salt that is at 8. Reef's crystals are, to me, are obsolete now. They're not stable anymore, in my opinion. I can buy 1 bucket to 2 buckets in the same day, and I can mix up 2 different barrels and have 2 different magnesium, iron, alkalinity, calcium. So I don't use reef crystals anymore. It's okay to cycle a tank with it, but I would go with a better salt. I use Aquaforce probiotic on this tank with my bio pellets that I have on this system, and I also run carbon with a touch of GFO every now. Well, I run the GFO in there. I add it in there every couple months as PO4 will raise. I never let it get above 0.08. I'm not really scared of phosphates, but I try to keep it low because it keeps the glass a lot cleaner. Right now they're at 0.027, so 0.03. Sorry about that, guys. Well, yes, I keep my PO4 at 0.03 mainly. This will be the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched all the way through, like, subscribe. If you have any questions, please ask them. Comment below. Thank you.